Hey, welcome to this week's Texas Roadhouse press conference. We've got a busy upcoming weekend as both basketball teams are back at home this weekend. Thursday night is going to be our Jam the Gym night, getting people in for a big doubleheader against Angelo State. The women will take the court at 5:15 against the Ramblers, and the guys will follow at 7:30 against the Rams. Saturday, both teams are back in Lone Star Conference action, beginning at 2 o'clock against Texas A&M Kingsville, with the women on the court at 2 and the men following at 4:15. This past week, a few accomplishments. Kaylee Pippin-Stryon became the 12th woman in school history to record 500 points against Midwestern State. And this past Saturday, Sarah Bursine tied the team scoring lead this season with 20 points in the team's overtime loss at Cameron. For the men this past week, Kyrie Elder scored the 4th most points in school history with 34 in a big second half comeback against Cameron. Kyrie and Jacob Ledoux are both in the top 4 in the league in scoring, as UTPB leads the Lone Star Conference, averaging 89 points this season and shooting a league-high 50.6% from field goals. One little housekeeping note, Lone Star Conference Player of the Week this week will be announced Tuesday on both the men's and women's side. Okay, we'll get started today with head men's basketball coach Josh Newman.
Any reason for that, by the way?
I think it's just, I don't know, it's the only Tuesday we've got
suspense. It's all about suspense for you guys. I got the Bill Belichick look going now. Okay? Trying that out.
After the win?
Yeah. Well, if he was here, he would just tell you it's on the next game. So you guys are lucky it's me, not him. We had a good week. We're kind of that team right now. We're a little inconsistent. Versus Midwestern State, we played fantastic in the first half. I thought our defense was fantastic the entire game. Especially, we actually held them without a field goal for the last 8 minutes. But as Ryan got up here and he was very positive and outspoken about our offense, it wasn't effective in the second half versus Midwestern State. Give them a lot of credit. Their back was against the wall. I feel like they had to get a win, and they played really well. Down the stretch, we did not make the plays we needed to. And then obviously 2 nights later, playing Cameron in the first half, it was an offensive explosion. I kept telling my assistants, I said, geez, Louise, are they ever going to stop making every shot? Because they made 10 threes, and my staff, as witty as they are, they said, well, we made 9. So that kept us in it, honestly. I think we were down as many as 16 in the first half. I was really proud of our guys for not quitting, not giving in, keep fighting. And in the second half, I thought we did a great job defensively, which allowed us to get the lead, and then we made just enough stops to figure out how to win that game on the road. And anytime you can win on the road, you're going to take it, regardless of what the score is.
Is this a week when you're on the road, you feel like you need to sweep? I know you want to split every single time you're on the road. That's the goal from the beginning of the season, but the teams that are in the lower tier, we won't start.
Sure. I think it all depends on where you're at as a team. Certain teams, different times of the year, certain teams in the process of where they're at, and 1-year build, 2-year build, 3-year build, 4-year build. I think it all depends. Because obviously, yes, the goal is to win every single game. Now, Midwestern State, obviously, their record is not great, but they've also played the top teams in the league. And some of those were on the road. So sometimes that can be misleading. They're a good team, honestly. Their record, they're way better than their record. As you watch film, you look at that, and they're scary. So is Cameron. I mean, Cameron's beat some really good teams, especially on their side. They beat Lubbock Christian. They beat Dallas Baptist. Those are 2 good teams on their side. So you're right. But you can throw out anything that you want to happen when you go on the road, because it's a road game. And you can look at the best teams in the country at the highest level, and they'll struggle on the road. So it's just a little bit of inconsistency, and sometimes the environment, the elements, the travel, you name it, there's so many factors.
What are some of the things, just looking at these first few conference games, what are some of the things that you think your team needs to work on in order to win these next few ones?
So it's funny you say it, because offensively we're shooting 50%. I still think we have a lot of improvement on the offensive end in terms of our, being value in the basketball. We're still turning the ball over at a high rate, so we got to value the ball more. We got to execute when it really comes down to crunch time. I mean, as the game goes on, we're really good in transition, but there are some times where you have to execute a play, and I think we can get better at that. And then defensively, I think it's consistency. A lot of it is taking that pride in not getting scored on. I mean, if a guy makes 2 or 3 shots on you, it's got to make you feel uncomfortable. It's got to make you mad. And I'm looking for that, where our guys take a little bit more pride individually, because our team defense is pretty good, but individually we got to have a little bit more commitment to not getting scored on.
How would you describe the home court advantage you guys have had this year?
Fantastic. I didn't know the home court advantage we have here until I've been here. prior to being at UTB, we had a beautiful arena. It's at 3,000 people, but there's only about 1,000 people in it. Here, the crowd is completely different. They're on top of you. You feel the energy in this crowd. And I would take this venue over the past venue I had all day because of that. So we need them to be here on Thursday. We're going to make a ploy to every student, everybody in Odessa. We'll tell you that the first 500 people get in free. So how about that? Actually, anybody that wants to come gets in free. But we need to get as many people here for a very good qual opponent in Angelo State for both the women and the men.
So that being said, how excited are you then to have these next 2 conference games at home?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, one, school starts, so that's another thing is now that school starts, we're going to get in a different routine. And it's always easier to start at home when classes start because we're going to be juggling, okay, what class do we need to change? What do we need to do this? Do we have the right book? I mean, there's so many things that this first week, so many distractions. So being at home will absolutely help, and you're right. I mean, I wish we could play every game at home.
Coach, talk about Kyrie Elder's performance on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I guess listening to Ryan is one of the best ones in school history. At the time, I'm not really, aware of what's going on because we're just trying to win the basketball game, and I wanted to, get onto him for fouling at the end. So all those 34 points and all those rebounds and all those assists almost went to waste. But he's still learning too. He's a junior. He's grown up a lot this year compared to the last 2 years, and I was really happy to see him have some success. And they weren't a lot of forced shots, honestly. That's another thing that was really positive about that is they came within the offense. And then once he got it going, there were some shots that obviously you kind of cringe, but when it's going in, it's going in.
For you, Coach, at the beginning of the year, brand new team, brand new squad, we kept on saying, okay, give us some time to get things going right now. When do you kind of worry, like, hey, we need to get things going, everything needs to be on the same page? Are you at that point yet, and are you hoping that it's close to the end of the season when that happens?
Oh, I'm there now. I mean, but when you say that, we're 10-5, we're 3-2, we're technically 2 games out of first place. Unfortunately, we are 3-2 because I feel like we should be 4-1. We had a game that we let get away from us, but you can't go back. So we're fine. This is going to be the next 2 weeks will be really tough for us. It's going to be challenging, obviously, with Angelo coming in and Kingsville coming in, and then going on the road to playing Tarleton and Commerce. I mean, you're talking about playing 4 teams right now, 3 that are in the top half. So this is going to be a big 2-week swing for us. I think our guys are going to be ready. I hope they're going to be ready, and we're just going to prepare for each and every opponent coming forward.
When you look at the Lone Star last year, it was UTV and WT at the top, then you had a couple stragglers and everything. I feel like this year, it's just a whole group of people that really can be number 1 in the league. Am I right on that?
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's open now. I mean, you've got West Texas said, you've got Angelo, you've got Tarleton, you've got Commerce. I mean, I would tell you right now, those are the 4 best teams. And that's kind of, I think, going back to preseason rankings, kind of what everybody said. And we're kind of right there at the 5th spot. If we get that game that we should have a couple weeks ago, we're in a different spot. So it's fine. But the next couple of games are really going to determine the shuffling of who's going to emerge at the top and who's going to kind of sink to the middle. All good?
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank y'all.
Okay, next up is head women's basketball coach Ray Booth. Give me 3.
Yeah, you can have all the 7
My thing died, and that's not good.
Any more?
Oh,
No, just when I'm not here for 2 weeks, things can go. The wireless died, so the battery's full.
Do you need batteries?
I got batteries.
Okay.
It's just-
I don't even know if I have batteries. It's just like,
Boom,
good?
full battery. What do you only have? You rock. I appreciate you, Coach.
Yeah, no problem.
We're good to go.
One second. Okay. Good, yeah.
Go for it.
Coach, talk about Sarah Versang's performance in Saturday's game against Cameron.
I mean, she played pretty well. Sadly, we needed to do more to win the ball game, but I think in the last week she's really stepped up her performance that will hopefully help us going forward.
How crucial is it for you guys just to get a win?
We have to this week. I have to. So we looked at where we're at compared to everybody else, and there's still opportunity left, but we really need to split every week the rest of the way to have an opportunity at the end to be playing for something. So it's big, and we really need to take a step forward. 5 of our 6 conference games we were in until the fourth quarter of the very end of the game. So we've got to get over the hump.
Is it because of inexperience, young? What do you think of this?
I think 4 shots. I think bad decision making. I think lack of experience. Sure, all of those things. Roster changes. I mean, just the way basketball goes. But now we really need to be able to learn and grow and understand the significance of every single week. I don't think inexperience, but I do think, us being able to adjust week to week to our opponent, the scouting report. In the camera game, we went all man because they're the best shooting team in the league right now. So we did our job with taking threes away, then we get beat off the bounce. And so we just need to be able to make in-game situation adjustments at a higher level to hopefully get us over the hump, but we need to prepare them as much as we can.
How big is it to have these next 2 games at home?
Great. Great that we're at home. Like Coach Newman said, it's great that it's the first week of school. I think it would be very difficult for us to travel this week with everything. We need to focus on just our game week and keep it as basketball as possible with school starting. However, Thursday is going to be probably the toughest opponent that we've played all year in terms of what they're capable of doing. Angelo is by far the most athletic, the deepest, the most, in my opinion, the most talented, 1 through 5. And they have 3 very, very good players off the bench that would probably be huge contributors for anybody else. So they only lost 1 game, that was to West Texas on a buzzer beater. So that's going to be a tough game for us. Saturday, Kingsville just beat West Texas, so there are upsets all over the place, but our goal is we must split every week from here on out.
What's the locker room like?
The girls are great. They're bought in, they're ready, they're more upset. This is a group that wants to please, so they're more upset with themselves than any other frustration. That's a little difficult to coach at times because you don't want to bring them down, but you want to evaluate efficiently and honestly. KP had an awful week last week. If you look at her numbers, she was 2 for 19 in our Cameron game, and maybe less, a better percentage on Thursday. But we need everybody to play their best basketball. But I know that KP she knows that we need her to score, and now we just need to make those high percentage shots. And she's a player that's going to always try to put the team on her back for the right reasons. And so they're locked in, they're believing, they're a great group to work with every day, but they need to get a win. We need to get a win this week, and I feel like once we get one, we'll be able to have some momentum.
I could imagine it being tough for you after tough losses like that. How do you lift them up, like you were saying? How do you do that?
I think we have to be on to the next no matter what happens. It'd be easy to feel sorry for ourselves, but we honestly, we did it to ourselves. 5 out of 6 games, we were in until the fourth quarter or the very end. And so 3 of our 5 Lone Star Conference losses happened in the last minute to 2 minutes of the game. And so we need to do a better job of not allowing runs to happen late and adjust early and not always have to dig ourselves out of a hole. But they're a coachable group. They really are. So they want to do well for each other. And as long as we can understand we've got to go forward, we can't go back. We can't fix those 5 games, but we can hopefully prevent them the next time we see them. That's what we're going to be focused on.
You keep on saying the fourth quarter, that's where we're relapsing. Is it a fatigue thing? Is it a mental focus thing? If you had to pinpoint it, what would you say?
I don't think we handle adversity well. When things don't go well for us, we get worse instead of dig deeper. So, and I think our field goal percentage kind of shows that throughout the game a little bit. One quarter we could be great, and the next quarter could be really bad, and it's just up and down. And so being consistent with that, but I think it's a toughness thing as well. And I hope as time goes on and experience with the Lone Star Conference, we do become a lot better at that. That's definitely going to be a huge priority Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday going into Angelo State, because that's going to be a very adverse game for us, we predict.
Cool.
Thanks,
Thank
Coach.
you.
Appreciate
Thank you,
you. I'm
Coach.
sorry.
Thank you.